This is the pride of Pittsburgh to everybody. We don't do that out here. We're a good team. We're winning for a reason. We're going to get our man back on track, but what happened today is, I think, unacceptable, and we as a group in Pittsburgh got to be better. It's an all-star for a reason, and we just have to be better. So,
Rowdy Tellez, Pirates first baseman. David Bednar was doing his media availability after the game, and Rowdy comes in and takes some of the heat off of David Bednar. We'll talk about that coming up in a minute, but the phone lines have popped here, Doran. Are you cool with booing David Bednar? If you were at the game, did you boo David Bednar? Or do you look at it the way that we look at it? The guy's been a really good player for the team for a few years now, a back-to-back All-Star, and he's blown a game in the standings for them. One, and we think it's kind of ridiculous that he was booed. 412-928-9370. Let's go to Terry in Ligonier. Good morning, Terry.
Hey, Nicholas, thanks for taking my call. My thinking is, you know what, how do we know they weren't booing Derek Shelton as much as they were booing David Bednar?
You know what, that's a really good point, Terry, because there are a couple reasons to boo there in that ninth inning if you are of the booing mindset, right? Like, I thought, Terry, that Shelton screwed up in a couple of different ways. One, the second that Bednar walked the first guy, I'd have had a guy warming up in the bullpen.
Right.
Because you could tell he didn't have it. And then if you're not going to do it then, when he hits Torkelson with the breaking ball, you know he doesn't have it. He didn't have anybody warming up. Yes. And you have to face 3 batters minimum. I get that, but they should have had somebody up in the pen. They let him go way too long. Way too long.
Right. And you had Chapman pitch the day before. He only threw to, 2 batters? I mean,
7 pitches.
He had to have been ready to go, that night. I mean, he has a day off today. I mean,
I'm with you on all of that, Terry. And if you were a Pirates fan and you were booing the throw from Michael A. Taylor to third base that got away, that I understand, and it is difficult to discern the why of booing. I put it out there on Twitter yesterday that I thought it was a bad look, and I used some more colorful language. I had hundreds of people telling me that David Bednar deserved to be booed, that they booed him, and if they were there, they would have booed him. So that's why I'm saying, yeah, he got a lot of the boos.
Yeah, like directly to him. Mm-hmm. That is a good point. I mean, you don't know where the boos were going, but for what you just said, and I saw your tweet yesterday, and the fact that you got the comments that it was directly to him, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and when he's walking off the field, he heard the boo birds. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Ken in McCandless. Good morning, Ken.
Morning, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I agree with both you guys, and I think everybody has a right to boo.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's right to do it when I think effort is important. And if somebody's dogging it, I think, boo them. But if they're giving 100% effort, and Doran, you can agree with us, you played, and you shouldn't do that. I mean, you're trying your best. And he's a great guy and Pittsburgh guy, and that even makes it more bad that how great of a guy he is, what a job he's done.
That's right, man.
Years.
And he was hurt. He pitched 1 week in spring training, wasn't even available on opening day. Like, you got to factor these things in. And I get you go to a game and your team that you now expect to win blows it and you were upset. And so maybe even fleetingly for a moment you go, oh, boo! Like, there are real emotions at play, real sports emotions. I get that. I'm also with Ken. Like, a guy doesn't run out a grounder to first and you want to boo?
Absolutely.
Totally understand.
Deontay Johnson.
Big
boo
time.
the hell out of him.
Even though I think my take on Deontay was don't boo him at the player introductions because I didn't want him to turn into a mental case. But at the time,
yes,
I boo the hell out of him.
Yes.
If somebody pops up a bunt, depending on the guy, I might boo. If David Bednar had walked the bases loaded and then walked in a run, even then I might be a little bit more inclined, but I still don't think I'm booing that guy. Later on in the hour, I want to do something, Doran, because a ton of people on Twitter told me, all right, well, who's okay to boo then? Who's not okay to boo? All right, I made a list. Guys I wouldn't personally boo.
Yeah.
And guys I absolutely would boo. We can do that coming up a little bit later on in the hour. As for Rowdy Tellez, I heard Pony say yesterday, this guy hasn't been around long enough to tell us Pittsburghers how to behave, even though Pony himself said, I wouldn't have booed Bednar. Look, I understand where Tellez is coming from here. He has already quickly shown himself as one of the leaders of this clubhouse. Guarantee you Bednar appreciates what he did.
Every guy in the locker room does.
Yes.
You need a glue guy like that. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, you always talk about, oh, this guy's a bad teammate, this guy's a good teammate. Why aren't they together? They're on the same page. And you have a guy stick up for another guy that just got here. I don't care if he just got here or not, or if he's from Pittsburgh, grew up in Pittsburgh, was born in the Monongahela River. Like, he's sticking up for his team. Like, this is a situation like this. Okay, so say like Najee Harris fumbles and loses the Steelers the game, and the next day Russell Wilson goes to his press conference, has his back, says, don't boo Najee Harris. You're going to be mad at Russell Wilson, but also at the same time, you're going to say Russell Wilson wasn't a great teammate in Denver. He wasn't a great teammate in Seattle. But now you're mad at Russell Wilson for sticking up for Najee Harris? You can't have both ways.
I stuck up for Pat Narduzzi with the Boo City comments because it was the same thing for me. Like, I'm sure Pat doesn't want to call out the fan base. He's protecting his quarterback.
Yes.
He's protecting a transfer quarterback.
You need guys like that in the locker room, and as players, you absolutely appreciate that because the last thing that anybody wants to do is have to answer for another teammate's faults or answer for another teammate's issues. But whenever you take it upon yourself to do that, that's true leadership, in my opinion.
It is, and I thought it was a big man move, too, from David Bednar to go out there and face the music. You know, he did not have to speak to the media. These guys aren't obligated to talk every day. And he did because he knew he screwed up. So I don't fault.
It's ridiculous that even Pony said that. Oh, he hasn't even been in Pittsburgh that long. Who cares? Who cares?
He's trying to set the foundation of this is the way that we operate here. And I'm going to be a guy in this clubhouse.
And you have to love that because you know that the windows now and the expectations are high, just like yesterday, of why I think a lot of people booed because they expect the Pirates to be good. They expect Bednar to be good, and I understand that. But you also have to understand that he's like, listen, we're going to protect our own because we are good. We got to keep the mental psyche up of everybody in the locker room because we can be good. Just relax.
I don't know that they had that guy before.
No.
Now,
touch maybe, but like.
And I think so. I can meet Pony on this. I do think it carries more weight if it would have been Kutch, because I think that would have changed Pittsburghers' minds. So Tellez, he said, we played the clip for you there. Tellez got his guys back, and now he's become the lightning rod, which I think is part of it. Like, put it on me. I'll take the brunt of this now instead of David Bednar, who's got to get his psyche back up. I think that's what he's doing. If you want to put an end to it, Kutch goes out and says something. If Andrew McCutchen said, do not boo us, I don't think you get a single Pittsburgher, maybe a few. I don't think you get very many Pittsburghers who go, oh, screw you, Kutch, we can boo. I think people go, all right, we got the marching orders from that guy, we're going to buy in. I do think that. He's under no obligation to go out there and do that, and he didn't do that. But if he did, I do think that the response may have been a little bit different. I'll tell you one guy who always bothered me when he would talk, though, was Matt Niskanen. Hey, so maybe I'm stepping on my own point here. Niskanen, he never met a microphone he didn't love. He also didn't win jack crap here. Like, he should not have been the mouthpiece of a Penguins team with Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. But I have no problem with Rowdy Tellez drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is how our locker room is going to operate here.
It's great.
And I do think Martin Perez, Aroldis Chapman, Rowdy Tellez, Michael A. Taylor's won a World Series. They have infused this team with veteran leadership so that when there are moments like this, it gets diffused in a way that it probably wouldn't have been diffused in the past.